Hi, welcome to this Friday brunch Dhamma, 15th of May. Today I'm going to talk about the third Khanda, which is Sanya. Sanya is translated as perception. Well, perception is the most basic of all the five Khandas. It is through perception that we come to know that there is a body. It's through perception that we come to know that there are feelings, that there are thoughts, and that there are consciousness. So it works in that fundamental level. Now, where does the perception occur? Perception occurs within the mind itself. When you see something, when you hear something, then perception receives it. And the first thing that perception does is try to identify what it is. That's the next process. Do we see all the time? We don't. Sometimes we don't see things. You know from the experience, sometimes, when you're looking for a blue scissors, in your drawer. Then you open your drawer and then you can't find any blue scissors, right? Because you're looking for blue scissors. But what happens is that the scissors that you want actually turn out to be red. So what you're looking for is just something blue. So when you do that, you don't really see. You're anticipating, right? You're looking for something. So when we perceive something, our mind actually directs our attention to the things we want to see, or we pick up things we want to see. Right? And that comes from within us, within the mind, and within our conditioning. There are people who, wherever they go, the first thing they want to see is whether the place is clean or not. Right? Or other people, when they go to a place, they want to see what the colors are. Do the colors match? And so on. So our perception of things is biased. Or when you see somebody, you want to see what the eyes look like, Whether some people might say, well, the eyes look shifty, I got beautiful eyes, or gentle eyes, or compassionate eyes, So it's driven, driven by our conditioning, driven by our beliefs. So our perception, to a certain extent, is unreliable. Everybody knows that, when there is an accident happening, and then you ask 5 witnesses, and they give you all kind of 5 totally different accounts of it, They may overlap a bit, but they all stress on different things. So that's the nature of perception. It is not absolute. It is conditioned by us. So what are we to do with perception? How do we work with this Khanda? What are we supposed to do with perception? Well, the first thing that I've taught you all is about creating identities. Right? When you see something new, even though your conditioning is trying to create an identity of it, right? You want to still say that the identity is not sure. You want to know for yourself that what you have perceived, what you have picked out, is bias. It's your own conditioning. That's the first thing. So when you know that the identity that you created are biased, then you want to know, as soon as you come across something that you've seen before, you want to know that you're biased in identifying the thing. Bias in the sense that, well, this thing is good, this thing is no good. This thing is beautiful, this thing is ugly. This thing is friendly, this thing is unfriendly. We are all conditioned, in believing in that ghosts are unfriendly, ghosts are scary, ghosts are harmful. And that's the kind of conditioning, And most of us, have only seen the ghosts in movies, or we make up an image of a ghost from what people tell us. So we have this identity of a ghost. So with this identity, when we walk in the dark, we start projecting, that image and get scared. That's the way we work. So every time you perceive something, you want to know that, well, it's not too sure, whatever you know about the thing. Whatever you know about the thing is something you have previously created and build on it. You build on it on every sources that you come across. The first time you see it, you make it up. Then you hear about it, you put in more information. And most of all, you put in the feeling of like, dislike, put in the feelings of attraction or aversion in it. So you want to know all these are unreliable. So whatever you have in front of you is something that's unreliable, something that's not sure. Well, you can say, maybe I'm 60% sure. That's about all you know. If you live with somebody, for many years, maybe 30 years or so, then you can say, well, I know this person 85%. Maybe. But you do not know the internal turmoil of a person, how they feel about things, if they don't verbalize it. So, with the idiom, seeing is believing, there are two aspects of it. The first aspect, when you normally see things that are external, right? Don't believe in what you see, because it is all manufactured. The part where seeing is believing is when you have a direct experience of things. Then you can say, my heart seeing it is knowing it. Not believing, but knowing. So knowing comes from seeing. So that's a kind of perception. But it's a different form of perception. Now, even that kind of perception, we have to direct it. We have, like all seeing, we have to direct it. The correct way of seeing Dhamma is to see its anicca nature, its impermanent nature. To see that all things, because they are impermanent, do not have an essence. They're changing all the time. There's no permanent essence in things. People, things age, and then they deteriorate, and then they break apart. So when we see something, when we perceive something, we want to have this inner seeing, the inner perception of the characteristics of things. That is important. We want to see that when we hold on to something, we're in trouble. We've got to take care of it. Right? And it's not going to last. And if we attach to it, when we lose it or when it breaks apart, we suffer. And we have to constantly protect it when we attach to it, when we cling to it. So perception, seeing things in this particular way, is the way to practice. So when do the ending of this seeing come? When do we end the practice of sanya? Well, first is coming to see things as they are. So when we see things as they are, we see things not as compounded things. We see things that they are made up of the five Khanda, separately, not compounded. Most of the time when we see somebody, a person. But when you are able to see that the person is material form, when he starts to speak, there is the rising of a consciousness. When he speaks, there is the verbalizing of the thing, and so on. You see it as a process, not as a single object. So we can't hold on to a process. People change, their mind change, their feelings changes. Well, the views may not change as fast, but it is a process. We are all a process. So all five khandhas in themselves are impermanent. So when we see things as just a process, then everything in this world, including ourselves, are empty of any permanent entity, permanent essence. There isn't. Things changes, we changes. our mood changes, our thinking changes. So that's the perception one you want to develop. Seeing things as they are. And in Pali it's called Nyanya Yatha Buddha Dasana. Seeing things. When we see things as they are, everything is a process. Then when we see that we ourselves is also a process, there is no entity, there is no one, there's no essence. We can become fearful in the beginning because we're not used to it. There's nothing in this world, everything's a process. I'm changing, you are changing, everything is changing. Now when we see that, we enter into a stage called nibbida, disenchantment. We have broken the spell that things have on us, disenchanted with things. Sometimes this disenchantment will go to becoming fearful because we are so used to holding on things. We are used to having things. We are used to believing that I am somebody. There is a me. But when you see yourself as a process, no fixed entity, then you can become disenchanted, fearful. See? So when there is nothing permanent, there is nothing to hold on, there's nothing to be passionate about, things change. Whatever you want, whatever you see that you want, that you like, has changed. You like yourself, but you have changed as well. You dislike yourself, you have changed as well. So when you see things and become disenchanted, you become dispassionate with things, viraga. When you are dispassionate with things, then you have freedom, liberation. You're liberated from things that you're attached to. The thing do not have a hold on you. You know there's no point in possessing this thing, it changes. There's nothing to hold on to, it changes. The same with ourselves, the same with our body. Then you're able to let go. You're able to either take it or leave it. That's what liberation is. To be able to decide what's the appropriate action. To take it or to leave it. It means you're not conditioned. You're not conditioned by your previous false knowledge of what a thing is. You've truly seen. Now there is another aspect of sanya. That aspect is memory. Memory is thought perception. And we all know that memory causes us a lot of problems. There are people who have a bad relationship, and that's the memory of it. And there are people who have a traumatic experience, and it comes up within them. And there are people who have good memories, and they long for that memory as well. See? So holding on to memory causes suffering. Sometimes you do not want to hold on to it, but they have a hold on you because you have invested in it. You've invested a lot of energy in it, because it itself has a lot of energy. It's traumatic experience. Traumatic experience is an experience where we are in a place, we are in a heightened experience. We notice everything. What's going on? And it's stored clearly in our mind. So every time when a memory comes up, you have to remind ourselves that it is just a memory. It is something that's retained by the mind, by the heart, due to the intensity of the situation, or due to our intensity of liking a particular thing, or due to the intensity of our aversion towards a particular thing, or due to our fearfulness of it. So these are things you have to work with. Stored perception, memory. How do we do it? Unfortunately, we have to bring it up and look at it, and look at the feelings that is associated with it, and bear with that feeling, to let the feeling come up and then subside, but not to increase those feelings. There are ways you can reduce that feeling by telling yourself that what you have brought up is just a memory of an incident. Another way to say is that at that time you see it in that particular way, right? And that kind of way of seeing it, causes fear, right? So you can change, that's it. That is my way of seeing it during that time when the incident happened. Not sure. Yeah. My way of seeing it is not sure at that time, which brings fear. What I see may not be true. Not sure. Right? That person really didn't intend to harm me. So the whole process of going through the memory, of letting it coming out, is to reduce the feeling that's associated with it. Because the feeling is that great, it has to come out. If it doesn't come out in the daytime, it will come out during your sleep. So with those kind of memories, you have to work with it to reduce, seeing it carefully, changing the scenario, changing how you see, change your views. Right? You're working to reduce the feeling. Once the feeling has subsided, then can you forget? Slowly you forget the incident. If we don't work with it, it will still remain with us. We have to be brave to bring it up with a new view, a new interpretation. And you can say that everything is changing. That situation will never occur again. You have to learn how to do it. we perceive something can create problems for us. If we see something, we have aversion for it, we create an aversion for it, or we create an attachment for it, then that will bring us problem. But perception itself also releases us. When we see something and we start breaking it down into the five Khanda and see it as a process, that it changes, then it can lead us to release. The perception is very important. I've always told you all that when somebody says something, when it's not true, you want to internally say to yourself, not verbalize it, you say this is not true. If you do not, then your mind will accept it without you knowing. Or better still, say, not sure. See? So everything you hear, you see, you taste, you smell, you want to put a not sure on it, so that your mind doesn't assimilate it in that conditioned way. And when you say it's not sure, the mind can let go of it. So what's the ultimate perception? What you have to retain? You have to just retain the basic perception of things. Shape, colors, that's all. The rest are all impermanent. How you see things, what it is, what it's like. They all change. There is a state which is called neither perception nor non-perception. That means you are seeing something, but you don't label it. You're seeing something, but not labeling it means you do not recognize it. And that's kind of a blissful state. Because your mind is not entangled with the things you see. See, one of the experiences that you have is when you go up on a hill, or like I'm staying on top of a hill, when you look at the scenery is complicated. You do not focus on any one thing. You just take in the scenery as it is. So you're in a state of neither perception nor non-perception. If you do it correctly, you see the scenery and you take it as it is. But once you start identifying, there's a tree, there is a river, right? And there's the mountain, and you've lost it, right? You've gone into identifying the thing. But you stay with the scenery and see, you're in the state of neither perception nor non-perception. You see what's there, but you don't label it. You just label it as scenery. And you can in that blissful state because the mind is free. So with perception, at the end, the Buddha says, with reference to what is seen, there is only the seen. With reference to what is heard, there is only the heard. With reference to what is tasted, there is only the taste. And so on. So when you are in that state, that means you're seeing things at its most fundamental level. What you see is just sight. What you hear is just sound. When you see it, it's just sight, and you see it's just sound. It doesn't bother you. Okay, listen to this Dharma talk, gain some merit, you start straightening your views according to what Bhante is saying, get even more merit. Now with this merit, you're going to transfer your merit to your departed relatives. And when I'm chanting the transference of merit, think about your departed relatives and transfer the merit to them. So it helps them wherever they are. And as for you, you get this bonus merit of doing this transference of merit. You do not lose any merit. You get bonus merit. Yatha varivaha pura paripurinti sakara meva ito dinam petlanam upakapati Ichitam patitam tumham kipam eva sami chatu sapi purentu sankapa Chando panarasu yatha marijoti rasu yatha Sapi diyo vivajantu saparogo vinasatu mate pavan vantarayo sukhi digayuko pava piva Tanasili sanicham buddha pachayina Chataro dhammava tanti ayuvano sukhang Balang bhavatu sabba mangalang vakhantu sabba devata sabba buddhanupavena sattha Soti bhavantu te bhavatu sabba mangalang rakhantu sabba devata sabba dhammanupavena sattha Soti bhavantu te Bhavatu sabba mangalang vakhantu sabba devata sabba sanghanu Pavena sattha soti Bhavantu te